Hi guys, thank you for tuning into this video. My name is Chris. This video is going to be 10 tips for graphic designers who want to change their job description or start designing for the web, designing websites. So I see some graphic designers wanting to do this, and they might have a classic graphic design education behind them, or they might just be people who learned to do graphic design themselves and are very creative and would like to enter the world of web design, but might not know quite how to get here. And so this is a video containing 10 tips for what I think you should learn if you want to make this change. So number one, grid systems. Grid systems is a important thing of graphical design. Things don't get organized and look great just on their own. So you need a good grid system to design on. And maybe you already know grid systems, maybe you don't. So pick up a book on the library, or Google grid systems for web design. There is a lot of great systems out there. I tend to use the 960 grid design, and you can find that on the web too. It's free to use, and it's dividing your page up in a grid and in columns to better organize your content of your page. So check this out and use these grid systems for designing web pages. Number two, wireframing. Wireframing is also very important. Before starting design, you need to do wireframes to figure out where on the page which content goes, so you have a clear understanding of how your page is structured. Number three, site mapping. Site mapping is figuring out which page goes where and how they are connected. And you might not think that this is part of the designing of a website as such, but it really is. As a graphic designer, I think it's important to have the understanding of how the website is built and is mapped out. Number four, margins. Margins is so very important in web design. Maybe one of the most important things. And if you are a graphic designer, you'll know margins from designing anything. But margins is very important, and in thinking of the grid systems, as we talked about, margins become important to divide your columns and divide your different content of your pages, and really getting use of the negative space on your pages. Number 5%, pixels and ems. A lot of designers is used to think or design in metrics, centimeters or inches or points or pixels, or what they are called. But in web design, you have to learn to use percent, pixels and ems, and especially pixels and ems. I think is important to do your website. And if you want to go and do adaptive web design, you also need to grasp these concepts very well. Number 6, user experience. User experience is extremely important, and to a graphic designer too. What is the experience of this page? Learn something about this and have this in mind when designing your web page. Number 7, information architecture. One of the things that is not so important, but still important for a web designer to understand is information architecture. How do people use the web? How do they use websites? And how do they read and understand the content of the website? Grasping the information architecture is also an important thing when designing a web page. Number 8, user profiling. User profiling is also important because you have to know who you're designing the website for. So think about this when you're designing a website. Think about how to do user profiling. You might know this from your education, or other things. User profiling is very important in a lot of marketing related stuff. Number 9, HTML and CSS. I don't think it's very important to learn this to start out. You can always team up with a developer and just hand off your Photoshop files to the developer, and then can start programming and doing the HTML and CSS. But as time goes by, I think it's important to learn these things, have a basic understanding of it before you start designing, and when you learn more HTML and CSS, it's actually quite easy to cut up your graphics and photos and so on, and get a good mock-up in HTML. Number 10 is optimizing for the web, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but it's still very important to optimize all your graphics for the web. So it's not as heavy on downloading. So today the bandwidth of your users change a lot. A lot of users have a lot of bandwidth, and a lot of them really don't. And using mobile phones, there's probably not a lot to use from. So make sure that your graphics and photos are optimized for the web. So these are the 10 things that I think you should learn if you are a graphic designer wanting to do web design. And I've actually done several videos on more of these topics and subjects. So check out my channel to get more information about how to do this. And of course, in doing this video, I think it's I think it's important that you have the basic knowledge of doing graphics design and working with graphics, images, and so on. So if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to type them in the comment section below, or write me an email. As always, to stay connected and be updated on new videos, please connect with me on Facebook and Twitter, or subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. It really means a lot to me. So don't be a stranger. See you later. Bye.